daughter, so I have also grown up coming to the lake. As I get started, I want to acknowledge that Waskesiu is located in Treaty 6 territory, which is the homeland of groups who called this area home for thousands of years. These indigenous groups are the Woodland Cree, the Plains Cree, the Swampy Cree, the Dene, the Dakota, and the Métis Nations. So welcome, everybody. We're here today because 25 years ago, my mom started to collect stories with the help of Ion's husband and all of these beautiful ladies in the front row and some ladies who have left before us, who we see one of her daughters in the back row here, and she published the first Waskesiu Memories. And over the course of the next 5 years, she published 2 more books. And so when we come up here, we always have the books in the bookstore, and we ran out of the books in the bookstore, so I had to get them republished. And so when I looked at the date, I realized that it had been 25 years since the first book. So I called up Chris, and I said, maybe we could do something about the books. And she said, well, we have Heritage Day, so why don't we do it all together and have a camp kitchen and have some goodies and coffee and everything else. So that's what we're here for today. There's a few people who drove a long way. My cousin Linda O'Halloran came from Fort Qu'Appelle and Regina area. And George Witter, who was sort of the impetus for the second book, which he's not named, but you'll read about him in the Vacation Land News, handed my mom a story and said, this is for your second book. And Mom said, I'm not doing a second book, but nevertheless, there was a second and then a third. So George and his son are here from Saskatoon. So I know everybody comes from everywhere, and I know like Linus here from Ladysmith and everything, but those are people who specifically drove up today. Plus 2 ladies who drove up from I don't even know where just to buy the books and have them signed for my mom. Welcome. The first person I want to call up is Chris Arnstead from the museum. Mom and her friends started this, and then Chris is amazing at keeping everything going. So thank you.
I'm speaking on behalf of the current board of the Waskesiu Heritage Museum. Our president, Betty, was called away to a family funeral, so I'm taking her place, but I think I'm also speaking for all the board members who went before me, because we are definitely standing on the foundation that was laid by the people who began the museum. We want to welcome you to Camp Kitchen Hospitality. This was very much a part of Waskesiu's history, gathering in the shack tent, gathering in the camp kitchen, sharing food, feeding your neighbors, and building a community. So thank you very much for coming today. We are wanting to express our congratulations today to a very special person, Dorell, on a special anniversary. Dorell, you had the vision for preserving the history of Waskesiu through these books, through people's memories, and through the museum. It's just been an amazing task. You had a lot of help building both the museum and publishing the books, and we recognize that, but it was your dedication and your vision and your perseverance that dealt with those piles of papers and all of those letters and all of those contacts that you had across Canada and the United States, turning those stories into you. She started with one very modest book, and the second one came a bit larger, and the third one is this thick. You can see them over at the table where Carolyn will have them for Dorell to sign. And it's just an amazing accomplishment, and we're delighted to be able to celebrate being able to read those books and have those books for 25 years now. These books inform. You learn about Prince Albert National Park from those books. The books entertain because the stories are heartwarming, they're funny, sometimes they're sad, serious, but they're people's memories, they're worth reading. And they also inspire us. I have used Dorell's books constantly in my years as curator of this museum, and I know the curator before me also depended on them as a source of knowledge in a community that doesn't have a government doing that for us. So we're very grateful for the resources that you provided us for. Lakeland News has been publishing weekly an excerpt from the books. And this week, the cover story is about Dorell. And inside, you will see a picture of Dorell in 1956 wearing a beautiful yellow sweatshirt with this design on the front of it. And she's wearing the original today, and those of us that maybe weren't around in 1956 can purchase a t-shirt or a bag like this heritage logo at the table at the side afterwards. I have a card to present to you, Dorell, that was made for us by one of our former board members, Jackie, and we just want you to know how special we feel you are, and hope that you have realized how appreciated your work has been.
Thank you.
I'm super grateful to Vacation Land News for the publication that they did do. We drove up to Emma Lake, and Nicole interviewed my mom and pulled all of those stories out from her, and so I'm very grateful to them for publishing that, to have that as a legacy for our family.
Mm-hmm.
The next and final speaker that I want to have come up is Britt McCreath. And yeah, a little surprise we've got. Yes.
We actually have a big surprise for you today. And what an honor it is to pay tribute to you today, to pay tribute to Dorell. You are leaving an incredible legacy. Your 3 memory books, being the person that helped establish Friends of the Park and the museum, and then look around you. The rest of the legacy is all of us, your colleagues and your friends, and it really is quite a tribute to you this morning. This morning, I'm happy to announce that Dorell is the 2023 recipient of the Everett Baker Saskatchewan Heritage Award.
Oh.
It's just a huge honor, and Carolyn and I are just so delighted that they agreed that it was the perfect place to present it to her here in Waskesiu with all of us around her. So the 3 of us, Bill Wazer, Chris Arnstead, and myself, scrambled with Carolyn's help to get the nomination in the day before the deadline. It was crazy. Like, I was sitting, and I'm not particularly good on my computer, but sitting there till almost midnight, and then I called Saskatchewan Heritage in the morning, and I said, it's coming, it's coming. Anyway, with many, many nominations, Dorell was chosen as this year's recipient. And I spoke with Bill Wazer a number of times, and just this morning we talked because he's very sad not to be here. For those of you that maybe don't know, Bill Wazer is the editor of Saskatchewan's Playground. It's the quintessential history book about this park, and he told me that back, I don't know how long ago, when was that book published? Do you remember? Yeah. Thank you. In 1989, he was in constant contact with Dorell because she helped him put together the story, some of the stories of Waskesiu, and he just found her to be invaluable in publishing that book. And I'm just going to pull a little quote out of his letter that he sent with our nomination package. Dorell literally grew up in the park, came to appreciate its rhythms and uniqueness. Dorell communicated that knowledge in a series of books about the heritage of the park, while at the same time calling on others to get involved in remembering and celebrating its history. She's done this work graciously and selflessly. Indeed, her work is reminiscent of Everett Baker and what he sought to do. And Everett Baker was the very first Saskatchewan Heritage president, and he always talked about people that did above and beyond. And we have an amazing example right here. So I think all of us need to give Dorell a huge round of applause, and we all owe you a very, very big thank you, and I have a little presentation for you, Dorell. I'll just read it. It's the Saskatchewan History and Folklore Society, in the spirit of Everett Baker, who believed in and actively volunteered for the preservation of local history in Saskatchewan. The Saskatchewan History and Folklore Society recognizes Dorell Taylor for demonstrating the same spirit and commitment.
Thank you.
Yes, Dorell's just saying what I help her with the 4th. Can you believe her? What a cheeky monkey. With all these witnesses.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. So would you like to say a couple of words? Just
Thank you for everybody that helped and give their own say. I just tried to. I thank you for everybody. Yeah.
Well, here, I'll give you a hand down.
I have a few little falls. Everybody's worried.
Go sit down. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody.
She's so sweet.
That is the end of our formal program. So thank you so much for everybody for coming out. It was just made mention of the 4th book. There will not be a 4th book.
Caroline, can I jump up for one moment?
You can definitely jump up.
Do you know what? I just want to jump up for one moment. I think that we need to acknowledge one more person that's with us today. A few months ago at the University of Saskatchewan, our own Ione Langlois was honored. Her picture and her story is now on the Wall of Honor in the College of Education at the university. And I think, if you don't mind standing up, I think we just need to give her a round of applause as well. That was an amazing, wonderful honor for Ione. So, 2 wonderful people being honored today.
If you see somebody wearing this lovely sweatshirt, they are a VIP in terms of Waskesiu Heritage and Waskesiu History, and good friends of my mom. Daphne was also part of it, but the sweatshirt is too warm for her, so she has a gray one. But pretend it's yellow. Pretend it's yellow.
Well, we stand out anyway.
Yes. So if you see any of these ladies in their yellow sweatshirts, then you know you can ask them questions about Waskesiu, and they will know everything, and they're all amazing. So back to this one. Yes.
Talk about being cheeky. I see Dorell's picture over here. She's still as young as she looks in her picture, Dorell.
I feel very blessed that I have so many family members here today. That was one of them. The rest are standing at the back here, and then my cousin Linda from the other side of the family. So everybody's here to support Mom today. Back to the 4th book. There isn't one. I want to be perfectly clear. There is no 4th book. However, I created a website that is waskesiumemories.com, and if you have a story like I know Myrna has, oh yes, remember that? You can email it to me, and I will help you with it, and you can send photos, and you can do all of that, and I will put them on the website, but there will be no 4th book. Everybody's clear on that, right? Okay. But on the topic of book 1, book 2, book 3, Ernie here, who runs the bookstore and has an amazing selection of books in there, has the books available for sale today. So you can purchase them, and Mom will gladly sign a copy. Not many of them are signed by the editor, so you can come and you can have it signed. at the table where the t-shirts are.
Yeah.
And that is the official, and like Gret's gonna say something else.
No, I'm just going to
Okay.
say 3 cheers for you, Carolyn, for getting us all together.
Oh, yes, that's right. Yes, and in Saskatchewan, you know, camp kitchen tradition, usually on a Friday morning, but today we're switching it up. There is coffee and goodies baked by friends and family right around the corner, so please help yourself.
Perfect.